This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. This is the stuff that I was talking about, folks. And now folks are starting to understand why Hino's Sport is the trendsetter, why Hino's Sport is the standard bearer. Because I keep the standards of boxing preserved. Let me say it again. I keep the standards of boxing preserved. I told you guys, Errol the True Spence is the only one at the welterweight division doing any serious heavyweight lifting. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence is the only one at the welterweight division doing all of the serious heavyweight lifting. It's about time Terence Crawford get his rabbit ass up and start doing some heavyweight lifting of his own. He wanted to go the lazy top rank promotions route, right? And just lazily crawl his ass to a super fight. You don't do that. Show your mettle. You know what I'm saying? Test your mettle. You know what I'm saying? Show your girth. Show your fucking strength, man. You know what I'm saying? Show it. Let us know what time it is. But you don't do that. Now you're starting to do that. This is why I have to start respecting Terence Crawford. Because people think I have an issue with Terence Crawford. I don't have an issue with him. Never did. I keep telling people, I don't know how many times I have to remind him. He is my second best welterweight in the division after Errol the True Spence. I like Terence Crawford. I like his acceleration on punches. I like how he throws punches in between punches. I like the fact that he has that dog killing instinct in him. And I like how he knows how to finish his opponents when he sees that his prey is wounded. These are his strengths. I also know his weaknesses. Hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. Hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. Hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. And he gets touched up way too much to the top and way too much to the bottom. Those are his weaknesses. And this is why I feel that in a fight against Errol the True Spence, when the first half of the fight ends in a super chest, when we start going into punishment, Errol the True Spence is going to be able to levy more punishment on Terence Crawford. And this is how I know Errol the True Spence will stop him late. This is why I have Errol the True Spence beating Terence Crawford. Of course, Errol the True Spence got to be at his best. You know what I'm saying? You can't settle for the rest. You have to be at your best in a fight of that epic proportion and that epic magnitude. You can't come into a Terence Crawford fight slipping. You can't come into a Terence Crawford fight slacking, because Terence Crawford is what we call supreme killer instinct dog. He's a fighter that is disciplined. He stays in shape all year round. Got to give him credit for that. So a fighter that does that is a fighter that lives, breathes, and dies boxing. So you have to be dedicated to your craft. And I feel that anything less than the Errol the True Spence that I'm used to, and I'm talking about Mr. Tactical Aggression, Mr. Technical Punching Placement, Mr. Body Snatching Work, the levying onslaught of the punishment style. The Errol the True Spence that had the veins on the forehead. That Errol the True Spence, the one that fought Kell Brook, the one that fought Campbell. If we don't get that Errol the True Spence, I'm sorry to say this, boxing world, he will lose to Terence Crawford. Damn, a lot of people like, dog, he knows the sport actually said that. Yes, I had the gall to say it. And Errol the True Spence is my favorite fighter. Nobody rocks with Errol the True Spence harder than he knows the sport. Everyone knows this. This is uniform on YouTube. That he knows the sport is the biggest supporter of Errol the True Spence universally, unquestionably, and unequivocally. But even as the biggest supporter of Errol the True Spence, I understand the reality of things. Remember, I told you guys, Terence Crawford is Raul. Errol the True Spence is Kenshiro. There's a reason why I call him Raul. Because if Kenshiro's slipping, Raul will whoop that ass. Let me say it again. If Kenshiro's slipping, Raul will whoop that ass. But when Kenshiro is Kenshiro, Raul has to submit to a fucking knee. And that's what would happen in a fight like that. Errol the True Spence has to come in 100%. Just like a fight with Cinnamon Alvarez, Errol the True Spence has to be 100%. This is the respect that I'm giving these fighters. People think, oh, it's just Errol the True Spence, I don't respect other fighters. That's bullshit. Watch my channel long enough, you understand that. Go look at my top 10 pound for pound list. I got Canelo Alvarez there. I got Vasily Lomachenko there. If I didn't put them there, then I wouldn't be respecting sport. So I put them there for a reason. This is not about bias. See, people keep thinking, oh, he knows the sport is biased. No. He knows the sport is a cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat truth teller. So a lot of times, my truth-telling fashion style doesn't line up with a lot of people because it keeps the foot on the what? On the necks. It keeps the foot on the what? On the necks. And like a Tibetan Mastiff, it applies what? Unlimited pressure, because pressure does what? It busts fucking pipes. People don't like that style. It gets them hot and bothered like grits. But like an old man told me, if you have 49% of people that like you and you have 51% of people that don't like you, you're doing something right. Let me say it again. If you have 49% of people that likes you and you have 51% of people that don't like you, you're doing something right. You need to have more haters than you have congratulators. This is how you know you're doing something right. You're pushing the narrative. Just look at the comment section. He Knows the Sport has the worst bed bug haters and trolls. Go look at what they have to say about He Knows the Sport. This is because these motherfuckers are insecure and miserable as fuck in their own lives. So they have to get hot bothered by grits when they hear something that they don't want to hear. It's the classic response of a hater and a troll. A classic dote and a troglodite. And like I said, a Rudy Poo and a plum brain. People are like, oh, why does a grown ass man say Rudy Poo and plum brain? Doesn't The Rock say, if you smell? Doesn't he call you a Rudy fucking Poo? Nobody questions that, right? But The Rock is securing his masculinity to call you a Rudy fucking Poo, right? Well, guess what? When you're securing your masculinity, you can say Rudy Poo. Let me say it again. When you are securing your masculinity, like He Knows the Sport, you could say Rudy fucking Poo and Tootie Froo and plum brain. Because I could say this because I'm securing who I am. I told you, I'm a man of confidence, purpose, and an abundance mindset. So when you react in this fashion, you can be assured to say whatever the fuck you want to say. And people will eat that shit up. Don't you see I got people in the comment section saying you Rudy Poo and you plum brain, you classic dote and you troglodite, you using incendiary words. You know why? Because they use that shit. You know how many motherfuckers use my sayings on a day-to-day basis and come back and say, I ain't gonna lie, though, I be jocking your style. Even though I'm a hater, I jock your style because I'm a low-key He Knows the Sport fanboy. Because remember, haters are your low-key fanboys. Let me say it again. Haters are your low-key fanboys. So now let's get back onto this. When you look at Errol the True Spence and all the heavyweight lifting he's doing, it's about time Terence Crawford get his rabbit ass in there and start doing some heavyweight lifting. So fighting Sean Porter is what I want to see. I like the fact that the reports just came out that Bomac said, hey, just send us the contract because we don't have a problem sending you a contract right back and we're going to fight. All of this, my buddy and me, my buddy and me, my buddy and me. None of this buddy shit in boxing. This is the hurt business. Fight first, friends later. Let me say it again. Fight first, friends later. When Errol the True Spence decapitated his friend Lamont Peterson, right? Did he sit there and say, oh, in my mind, let me consider if I'm going to fight him or not fight him? No. He decapitated his ass. And he put him in line. You know what I'm saying? So that, Lamont Peterson can get his ass retired. Because a lot of people are like, oh, Sergey Lipinets was the one that retired Lamont Peterson. No. Errol the True Spence did the damage. Sergey Lipinets basically was able to finish off what Errol the True Spence did. Errol the True Spence decapitated Lamont Peterson, and that was his boy. Errol the True Spence fought Sean Porter. Aren't they boys? Didn't they get chummy in the 2012 Olympics? Haven't they talked since? Remember? Sean Porter came to Errol the True Spence, tried to give him advice on the Kell Brook fight. Come on, folks. But Errol the True Spence, when he fought that motherfucker, hey, you in the way of strap season, man down. Man down, strap season. So I got to get your ass out of the way so I can not only say it's winter and it's summertime, but guess what? It's strap season time. So that's what Terence Crawford needed to do. He needed to get his ass off of his Happy Meal ass, stop doing this lazy top-ranked promotional bullshit of crawling to the damn super fight and actually put some work in. Because I told you guys, He Knows the Sport was the one that was the standard telling you motherfuckers this shit. That Errol the True Spence is the big fish doing all the heavyweight lifting while these welterweights are sitting on their Happy Meal ass. Now Terence Crawford is finally doing something that earns He Knows the Sport respect. Now let's see if this fight actually gets done. Remember, there's a contingency. He's finally doing something that's going to possibly earn He Knows the Sport's respect. Now he fights Sean Porter. Now we get a litmus test. And let me educate you guys on something when it comes to the sport of boxing. People say, oh, the triangle theories doesn't work. If you're doing triangle theories, you're what we call a casual. You don't know shit about boxing. Let me break something down to you guys. Casual theories are 50-50. Let me say it again. Casual theories are 50-50. I talked about this in my live stream last weekend. It depends on the situation. It depends on the dichotomy, and it depends on the circumstance. Here's where casual theories work. Now, here's where triangle theories work, and here's where triangle theories don't work. A triangle theory works when you have two fighters that have a very similar style, right? But one fighter is not effective in it, and the other one is effective in it. And they end up fighting a fighter that pretty much was the same fighter that you could draw a simile between them. Case in point, Kell Brook, Shawn Porter, Errol Spence. Errol Spence and Shawn Porter are both aggressive style fighters. Shawn Porter was an ineffective aggressive style fighter. Errol the True Spence was a tactical aggressive style fighter. The reason why the triangle theory worked is because you saw the difference between which aggressive style was going to nullify Kell Brook. The reason why Shawn Porter couldn't nullify Kell Brook is because his style is ineffective in his aggression ability. There's no strategy. There's no tactician work there. It's just go in there, smother the guy up, and try to outwork him. When you got a boxer of Kell Brook's magnitude, that boxer of the 2015, 2016 Kell Brook level, he's going to expose and basically nullify all of that bullshit. Then you got Errol the True Spence. Errol the True Spence is an aggressive style fighter too, but he's strategic and he's tactical with it, meaning he doesn't waste his punches. He throws his punches at the right time. There's always very sound, technically sound, and basically what we call fundamentally sound abilities associated with his punches. He knows how to place those punches at the right time, and he always throws them with mean intentions. And he keeps coming like an Energizer Bunny, just like Shawn Porter, but not from a smothering aspect, more so from an Energizer Bunny aspect. The reason why that style was able to nullify Kell Brook is because there was strategy behind it. There was tactician work behind it. So you see, the triangle theory worked there because you had two similar styles. One was ineffective, the other one was strategic and tactical, but hence the ineffective style didn't work, but the strategic and the tactical style worked. So check off to the triangle theory. It works there. But there are other scenarios where the triangle theory does not work. And here's an example of that. When you sit there and you look at Terence Crawford, right? And you look at the Ndongo fight and you look at Regis Prograis. That is where the triangle theory didn't work. Because Terence Crawford is the better fighter, right? But stylistically, because of the fight against Ndongo, right? He couldn't get Ndongo out of there the way that Regis Prograis was. See, a lot of people are like, well, Regis Prograis, he got Ndongo out of there faster than Terence Crawford. So that means that if he fights Terence Crawford, it's going to be a problem. Here's where the triangle theory fails big time in that regard. Because Regis Prograis is a physical style fighter. Ndongo is a reckless fighter because in the second half of the fight, he basically sets himself up to get knocked out. Regis Prograis is a stronger fighter. So his punches are going to be felt more than a Terence Crawford. So the reason why he was able to get Ndongo out of there is because Ndongo's style was tailor-made for Regis Prograis. It wasn't because Regis Prograis, in the triangle theory that is, was able to do certain things better than Terence Crawford, because they have two completely separate and different styles. You can't sit here and say that Regis Prograis, Riguru, is the same as a Terence Crawford. Riguru has nowhere near the skill sets of a Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford is not a fighter that has all of this immense strength. So it's not that Terence Crawford couldn't get Ndongo out of there faster because he just couldn't do it. It's because he doesn't have the strength that a Regis Prograis has. And stylistically, Terence Crawford is not set up to sit there and to just weigh in his physicality against a fighter. So this is where the triangle theory doesn't work. But is that saying that Regis Prograis is a better fighter than Terence Crawford? No. So this is where the triangle theory fails. You see what I'm saying? So I gave you a scenario where it works, and I gave you a scenario where it doesn't work. This is why I tell people the triangle theory works, but it's 50-50. It depends on the situation, it depends on the scenario, and it depends on the circumstance. So let's get back to this. Terence Crawford is hopefully finally gaining He Knows the Sport respect. Let me say it again. Terence Crawford is hopefully and finally gaining He Knows the Sport respect. But Terence Crawford knows what he needs to do. Get that contract fully signed. I don't want to hear this nonsense. Because this fight could be big. Sean Porter versus Terence Bud Crawford. That right there will be where the triangle theory works again. You know why? Because we will get a litmus test. Because Sean Porter is a hard outing for any motherfucker. So triangle theory, checks off. Because of the fact that everybody that Sean Porter has fought, he's been in a close fight with him. Now we're going to know from this corrected version of the triangle theory, the effective version of it there is, where Terence Bud Crawford is at his truest and his most properest level at 147. Because if he can beat up Sean Porter and get him out of there in emphatic fashion, and I'm talking about even more so than Errol the True Spence, because till this day, Errol the True Spence has the most effective win against Sean Porter. Let me say it again. Till this day, Errol the True Spence has the most effective win against Sean Porter because his knockdown was clear as day, can't be questioned. Sean Porter needed a complete reprieve. And if Terence Bud Crawford can actually knock out Sean Porter, now we got our litmus test. Now we know that Terence Bud Crawford is not only legit at 147, now we have to revisit that fight and say, okay, that fight is going to be a lot closer than what we think. But it needs to happen. And I need to see Terence Bud Crawford starting to do some heavyweight lifting so that I could sit there and say, okay, this is where his barometer is at. This is why He Knows His Sport was the standard bearer and the truth-telling author of pushing, you know what I'm saying, the cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat truth of saying, look, these welterweights, these guppies need to get their ass off of their Happy Meal ass and fucking fight real people. Because if Terence Bud Crawford fights Sean Porter, Danny Garcia fights Yordenis Ugas, now we got some work happening. And Manny Pacquiao will sit there because he's, you know, what he is. He's a legend. He could fight the winner of any of these motherfuckers. But his ass eventually needs to fight one of these motherfuckers. Now we're cleaning up a division. Now it's not just Errol the True Spence doing all the work. Now we got all these other motherfuckers doing the work. And if that happens, guess what, folks? The welterweight division can finally be cleaned out. And now we can have unequivocally, one real champion. This is He Knows His Sport. Check it out.